Secretary, we were talking about cybersecurity. This is a topic I think we could devote the entire program on.
Yes.
But I remember reading from a number of reports that where there are conflicts, that cyber warfare is now evolving as a new method of engaging enemies. How ready is the Philippines in that aspect? I know you can't talk about specific things, but maybe in general terms, maybe is there something that you need help from Congress to do to make us more protected on that front?
Well, I think not much on the Congress participation there is give us more funds.
Okay.
Just like from the armed forces,
Right.
We know what to do.
Okay.
We know what kind of hardware, what kind of software, what kind of training our people need to undergo in order to build up our cyber defense capability. And so we just need funding to do that enabling environment. But true, what you've said earlier, cyber warfare is here now.
Okay.
And you've seen it in the recent past with Ukraine and even just most recently in Taiwan with the recent visit. And curiously, because that has been my conversation with many ambassadors and many cybersecurity experts, is when do you declare war?
Okay.
When the first missile is launched?
Right.
Or when the
Or they
first...
disable all of your systems.
Yes, or when the first hack
Right.
into your system happens. Because
This is a truly new paradigm.
Yes, a completely different level. And the main difference is that in actual warfare, you know where the missile was launched from.
Okay.
But in cyber warfare, attribution is an issue.
Okay.
Because a country can deploy the vector and the payload through another country.
So hiding where...
Yes, where it's sourced.
Yeah.
And if you are going to say that that's a declaration of war, you might be hitting the wrong country. Because another country is the one that's using their infrastructure or their resources. So this kind of, again, this requires international cooperation among cybersecurity, cyber defense experts all over the world to help share information as to how are these happening, what are the methods or the techniques being used, what are the exploits that are being accessed in these types of cyber intrusions, and assessing the level of cyber threat. So we require what we call cyber threat intelligence.
Okay.
So there is an intelligence component there.
Okay.
So
do we need to restructure our defense organizational structure, or is there something already existing that can be built on? What's the situation now?
We need to protect our critical infrastructure.
Okay. When you say critical infrastructure, you're talking about power?
Power, telecoms, utilities, transportation, financial, banking sector. So all of those are critical infrastructures.
Okay.
So that has to be protected, and so it could be divided into maybe a civilian cybersecurity and a military cybersecurity. On the civilian side, we're more concerned with protecting the infrastructure.
Okay.
On the military side, they might want to not just develop cyber defense capability, but cyber offense capability too. So that, I think, will be another conversation with the armed forces.
Wow, so you think maybe hackers in the future will be a military item, a military expertise that...
Yes, and that's happening all over the world.
Okay.
If you would recall, even in the Middle East with Iran,
yes,
when their opponents were flying drones over them, their cyber defense units actually hacked the drones.
Oh, wow.
And was able to make them crash without firing a single shot.
Wow.
So these are the cyber warriors, cyber warfare. And, you know, so controlling of the drones, controlling of many of the assets that are even on the physical sphere. And of course, we need to share what we call geospatial intelligence.
Right.
These are intelligence that are obtained through satellites,
Okay.
through drones, where you are able to now have a good picture of the situation. And I think that is extensively being used now in Ukraine.
Right.
Both the Russians and the Ukrainians are using this type of to track down where the artilleries are, where the tanks are, so that they can launch their targets on those areas. But all of those are information that are obtained through geospatial assets.
Well, I don't mean to pin you down here, but I'm going to try anyway. In terms of preparation, the defense preparation and cyber warfare, where are we at? Are we, if 10 was wholly prepared and 1 was the least prepared, where would you put the country, or would it be even safe asking you that at this point?
I'm not at liberty to divulge that.
Okay.
But
are you confident? You're confident that we're doing what we can?
We're doing what we can, and we are focused on further enhancing, further improving our capabilities in this area. We are working hand in hand with the private sector, with industry associations, with sectoral groups, energy sector, financial sector. We're working with the defense sector to also share information and share capabilities.
Is there another country that we're looking at as a good model for the Philippines? Maybe being a U.S., for example, would be too ambitious, right? Are there other countries that have enhanced their cybersecurity defense in such a way that it's more realistic for us to follow that type of model?
Well, in Asia, we have several. You have Singapore, you have Malaysia, you have Japan, you have Korea. So those are good examples.
All right. And is there cooperation between us and these countries?
Yes.
Okay, that's
we are constantly in communication, and there are a lot of cooperation engagements there.
Right. And you mentioned, you were reacting to my funny question about, of course, you need funding, right? Is Congress receptive to this as well? Because there's so many priorities, right? And I would assume that, the basic services would be on top of that. But how receptive are they to also including maybe appropriations for developing new systems? I mean, do you see a receptiveness there to also consider that, or do they say, let's deal with the pandemic first, let's deal with education first, and then we'll deal with these other things?
Well, we're going to have more conversations with that with them soon, because our budget hearing is coming up. And they've actually requested for several meetings before the budget hearings to really get a grasp of what are our immediate concerns and what are our budgetary limitations and how they can help.
But speaking of the budget, yours is a fairly new department. Do you even have the staff that you need? Have you filled up all of the plantillas, or do you need more help from Congress?
Definitely. Given the expanded nature of our mandate, especially in helping all the different departments. So the president is pushing for right sizing. So there are opportunities for reducing the manpower in many areas that will not be needed. And then we need to just retool these people into a more digitally empowered workforce.
Right. Well, so very interesting.